First of all, I like to take my hat off to Dr. Martin Luther King today.
Great.
I'm told there's a march going on. They're honoring him.
Downtown
There's
Detroit.
a statue being unveiled. I know in downtown Detroit, but I don't even know what other downtowns that they're doing something for Dr. Martin Luther King today. So I just wanted to take my hat. This hat is one of the hats that the doctor wore that I liked it, and so I wanted to make sure that we take a few moments of silence to honor him.
Absolutely.
Before we go into our Recovery Lab Global interview. I have Mr. Kenyatta.
Yes, sir.
That's with me today, and he's a mover and a shaker in the community. He's doing great things, and I counted a joy, not only a joy, but I counted a privilege to even be here. Look at the view, man. I'm up here on the 3rd floor in the new center building. As you can see, sky rises outside and all of that. And the Lord have blessed us in our field to be able to do some things as far as recovery is concerned. So Detroit Wayne, Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network have privileged me and gave me an assignment to interview providers.
Okay.
I've been interviewing participants down through the years, but they've asked me, well, Mr. Jesse, can you interview providers on the show? And I say, yes, Lord, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I say, to your will and to your way, for them to ask me a question like that. So I'm happy and glad and privileged to be able to have a provider sitting before me. And I'm going to let you talk about, that part. But I'm just saying that I'm blessed and privileged to be able to be here to interview you today and then talk about some of the things that we're dealing with in our community as it relates to recovery.
Yes, sir.
There's so many layers of it. You got prevention, you got treatment, you got aftercare, you got detox, you got residential, you got outpatient, intensive outpatient. It's just so many layers.
Yes, sir.
As you think about the recovery process. And then when you really, really think about it, you got to go all the way back that most people started this journey of addiction with an experiment.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? They started with an experiment. They didn't know that they was going to be addicted enough to go treatment and all of this and all of that. And so that's why prevention is so important, because as many people as we could prevent from being addicted and being abusing and being dependent and being a chronicity and being all of those other layers that come along with addiction, as much of that stuff as we could prevent, the better for it. And so it's so much we can talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit about the prevention. We're going to talk about treatment. We're going to talk a little bit about aftercare and the different modalities that's out there that we can use on this thing called recovery. It's terrible out there.
Yes, sir.
That fentanyl,
Yes, sir.
Man, it's out there. It's everywhere. And then with the legalization of certain alcohol and cannabis and edibles and all of this other stuff, I don't even have the mindset, or I don't even have the education level today to deal with all of that right now. But you better know it, buddy. You better know it. I'm going back to school. Man.
Yes, sir.
So I can deal with the now. I know what I've been dealing with since I've been doing interventions since way back in the day. But I want to have current interventions that I can use to deal with what we're dealing with in 2023. So I'll start off by saying, we'll just take your name, a little bit of background about yourself, and then let's talk about recovery.
Beautiful. That sounds beautiful to me. Okay, my name is Lawrence Kenyatta. I'm honored to be here today with a man of God, a man that's respected in the prevention, treatment, and recovery community. When I was told that the Reverend Washington went to interview me, I said, definitely, this is something I want to be a part of, because I know his commitment, his dedication to this field of recovery. And I like to be around people like-minded as myself. I like to see myself, if they mention Reverend Jackson, my name somewhat associated with his name. Because in this field of prevention, treatment, and recovery, you got to have a special kind of commitment within yourself to want to do this kind of work. You can have all the book knowledge in the world. You can have you could be all the letters behind your name, but if it's not in your heart to want to do this kind of work, then I don't think you could be successful. But I don't think your clients and the people you provide the service to can feel that kind of commitment. And I mention all that to say the reason why I'm doing this 41 years, I've been doing what I've been doing, working in the field of prevention, treatment, and recovery, is because it was on November the 9th, 1981. That God delivered me from the horrors of addiction. So when I'm with my clients, Reverend, it ain't like I'm removed from their experience. When they talk about what addiction done to them, then I can identify and relate.
Okay.
And when I'm working with my young people, the 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, even to that point, for a lot of people in recovery, when I work with people, I say, well, how old was you when you first started getting high? 14, 15, 16 years of age. I'm with you, and we had this conversation before. We need to start reaching our young people before they wind up in drug treatment programs, before they wind up walking the streets, before our sisters wind up totally losing their life. So that's what I like to think. I got a couple of college degrees. God blessed me to take me off the corner of Mount Elliott and Solid Boy on the east side of Detroit and put me in these office buildings downtown Detroit, in one of the finest buildings in the city of Detroit. But that's only through the grace of God and my commitment to want to help somebody better their lives, and more so important, to help somebody to not go where I come from.
Okay.
That's the core of what Mr. Kenyatta does. Out here trying to help somebody to avoid, because people, like you said, people dying.
Yeah.
This in the 12-step program, they got a saying called jails, institutions of death. But now it ain't necessarily have to be in that order. People are dying. They skipping the jails and the institutions, and they hitting that fentanyl, and they going straight to the Swanson Funeral Home or Coles or McFalls or something like that. So if we can do something, to help our brothers and our sisters, and when I say our brothers and sisters, I don't talk about any certain nationality. I'm talking about in the spirit of God.
Okay.
We all brothers and sisters. I reach out to anybody that want to give them some help.
Okay. Man, you said a mouthful. You said a mouthful, and I heard you talk about prevention. A lot of times on my Recovery Life Global shows, we've been talking about a lot as it relates to treatment. We've been talking treatment, but prevention is another part of treatment that don't get a lot of light sometimes. But if you could stop people in the prevention, then you could stop them in the treatment.
Absolutely.
And if you could stop them in the treatment, then you could stop them in the experimental stages that they'll never get to the recreational stages. And then they'll never get to the abusive stages, then dependency stages, and then the chronicity stages, if you could stop them down here in the experiment part. So much education is needed. Much inspiration is needed. Much prevention is needed. Structure is needed. All of those modalities is really, really, really needed. In the school systems is needed. It's needed in the church. It's needed. It's needed in the home. It's needed. It's needed in the penal system. It's needed. It's needed all over the place. It's needed on the police force. It's needed on the bus drivers. The bus drivers. It's needed for the school teachers. It's needed for all walks of life in all places. Education, prevention, and structure about recovery is needed on all of those platforms. There's a lot of universities today that teach addiction studies.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So a lot of times when you go to a community college or to a college, you get teaching on addiction studies, but it ain't a lot of teaching on recovery studies. Yeah. Why? Because most people that move from addiction to recovery put a mask on because of the stigma associated with it. And they don't want to tell nobody, like you just said, that I've been in recovery over 40 years. And I've been in recovery 39 years. You got a lot of professionals that don't talk. So really, you got almost 80 years of recovery looking at this camera right here. That's a lot of recovery, man.
Yes, sir.
80 years? People don't live to be 80.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of, you got almost 80 years of recovery sitting right here in this room.
Yes, sir.
In the new center building talking about it. And it ain't being talked about. And since it's not being talked about, the Lord placed in my heart to birth Recovery Lab Global so it can be talked about. So I'm not ashamed.
Same here, brother.
I'm not ashamed.
Same here, brother.
So somebody got to take the mask off and say, you know what? I'm in recovery. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Somebody and we got to break the stigma.
Absolutely.
We got to fix it up that now when people get in recovery, they can get a job. When they get in recovery, they can get their expungements. When they get in recovery, they can work on their child support. When they get in recovery, they can rebuild their relationships with their children and grandchildren and siblings and all of that. It's a lot to this thing. Staying sober is called abstinence.
Yes, sir.
Recovery is when I change my thinking about the recovery processes.
Yes, sir.
And so abstinence is one thing. You could be absent for these over 40 years that you get and never have spent a day in recovery.
That's right. That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
How true?
That's that part. The young folks say that part. Okay. But that part, how in the world can you be in abstinence for 40 years and ain't touched the day of recovery?
That's right.
That's because my thinking have not changed.
That's right.
And my heart have not changed. And my ability to rationalize and my ability to change my thinking, motivational interviewing, cognitive behavior therapy, harm reductions,
yes,
all of these modalities of treatment known to man today was not known to man back then. They used to punish people for getting high.
Absolutely.
And I ain't gonna call no names, but they would make you wear a hat and make you walk around and all of this and all of that. They punish people when they used.
Yeah.
And that was the modality of treatment then. But it's a whole new modality of treatment today where a good assessment determines your treatment plan. And also, they told me that my clients today is no longer clients, they're participants. Why? Because they're participating in their outcomes and in their treatment plans. I asked them where you want to go, where you want to be, what you want to do. And then as a good clinician, I can get in there and see where they're at, number one, and then see where they're trying to go, number two, and then develop my interventions based on them. And guess what? When I develop my interventions based on them, we have a good time in treatment. We have a good time in the recovery processes. Why? Because they wrote their own plans. And I grabbed their plans and put some clinical interventions to it to help them see it and make it work through the latest modality of therapy. And that's the motivational part. Where's your motivation coming from as you think about the recovery process? So, man, this is some kind of talking.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm excited about you, man.
I'm excited.
You're doing a great job,
okay.
man. You doing it.
Let me add a couple of things on to what you said. I went through a drug treatment program called Elmer's Home, 12007 Linwood, corner of Elmer's Home. That was 41 years ago. To this day, I go back there once a week.
What?
Yes. To this day, I go back there once a week and facilitate a men's group. Don't get paid to do it. That's what I do because that's our calling. I honestly believe that God cleaned us up so that we can go back,
amen,
to the brothers and the sisters who's coming behind us. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm on a hotline. Don't get paid to do it. That's just what I do. Anytime somebody have a problem and they want to call into this number, I'm there. I'm committed to do that. Once again, that's what God wants us to do. He took us out of here, not just so that we can be independently successful and have our own clean time and doing these great things, but we also got brothers and sisters who's coming behind us. And I thank God on a daily basis for helping me so I can reach back and help somebody else. That's part of my recovery process also. Okay, I remember the story I read years ago about a guy who founded AA called Bill Wilson. And Bill Wilson went to visit this person in a hospital, and when he was leaving, Bill Wilson, the guy told him, "Bill Wilson, thank you for taking your time out to help me."
Brother Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he turned around and said, "No, you helped me. It wasn't so much as what I come here to help you, but by me helping you, I'm helping myself."
Yeah.
It's a saying they say, in order to keep what you have, you got to give it away.
I read that same book.
Yes,
It was 1935.
1935.
That happened.
That
happened in 1935.
Yeah, absolutely.
The foundation
Yes, sir.
of
Alcoholics Anonymous.
The foundation.
One alcoholic helping another alcoholic is how that program started. Look at the millions of people that have touched over that period of time. It's even been 100 years. So that's part of my philosophy.
Yeah.
Helping somebody who's coming from behind you. Now, that's the treatment and recovery aspect of it. And then the prevention aspect coming in. And what I want to just simply say that it's our obligation for me. We have an obligation to help these young people who's coming up. And a lot of these young people, especially today, me and you had a previous conversation, a lot of these young kids out here, a lot of them raising themselves.
Wow.
You know, a lot of them out here, hey, look, and I mean literally raising themselves. I mean, they don't have that kind of parent structure that past generations might have had. And we had this conversation many times before. They out here raising themselves, especially the men in the community. We got to step up. We got to be the men that God wanted us to be to help these young men and these young women to have a better life. One of the good things I was really excited about looking when I found out that you was going to interview me, because I knew we grew up in the same neighborhood on the east side of Detroit.
Woo.
We went to the same high school.
I didn't know that, but
we went to the same high school.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say who was there before each other, but it was built around the time, because a lot of the people that you named, I named. But when I go back in that old neighborhood now on Mount Elliott and Charlotte and Mac, and for the, that's kind of rough area now. Even now, God gave us a message to share with the people who, if I go down on Mac and Mount Elliott right now, if I leave out here, some of the guys that used to drink with me are still out there. But I have an opportunity to let them know there's a better life. And then especially with the young people, we can go back and then talk to our young people. That's what prevention is all about. And I feel we call it psychosocial, kind of just working with young people to let them know that there's positive activity. Last Friday, Friday before last, I had a Safe Sober Summer activity at my church, Change Ministry Church, that I attend with Reverend Roberts. We had hundreds of kids out there and had them to sign a pledge that we're going to have a safe, sober summer.
Wow.
And we put it in their mind that you can have a nice time. You can enjoy life. You don't need to be smoking marijuana. You don't need to be drinking. You can have fun. You can go to the movies. You can play basketball. You can do a lot of positive things with your life, and they don't have to involve marijuana. So let's get the reality in it. Every young person that's not out here smoking weed, drinking, getting high, committing crimes, and doing all that kind of stuff. But the ones that are, we got to reach out for these young people, put them up on our wings, like it was done to us at the Franklin Rice Settlement and other places around there, and let them know that you can be successful. Go to school, get an education, make something out of your life. If you don't get an education, go and get you a skill trade. I know a guy drive a truck, make $100,000 a year with a high school diploma. So we got to start leaning and directing our young people in a positive direction.
Yeah, that's right. You said something that just touched me, the younger people. And a lot of times, I call myself old school. They called me that when I was at my barbershop, old school. Now they call me Pops. Then they start calling me Unc. And I'm trying to figure out, man.
Now I'm Granddaddy.
Now, what's all that Granddaddy, Unc, Pops, and old schools? I mean, what does all that mean?
OG?
Yeah, they say that's respect.
Okay, yeah.
They say that's respect in the community.
Now they call me Baba.
Baba?
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's for having some wisdom along with my age. So.
Okay. Yeah, but I have to, at my stage of the game, we need some younger faces
absolutely.
on the show.
Absolutely.
That have the communication savvy to be able to talk to our younger people and can talk their language. You know, I'll be talking the young folks' language, and sometimes I'll be messing it up because I don't know where to use the verb at. Or I don't know where to use the connector at. I try to learn their language and say it, and a lot of times I'll be messing up. I don't have the electronic and the computer savvy that they may have to navigate through. I mean, these kids today, when they go to school, they give them a computer.
Yeah.
When I went to school, they gave me a book.
Yeah.
You know, when I went to school, they gave me a pen and a paper and a book. Now they give them a laptop and an iPad and a computer and a phone. So it's a whole different generation of communication. And I need now younger, and I'm talking to the camera right now. I'm going to move from Kenyatta just for a minute, and I'm going to speak into this camera because I know that Recovery Live Global is all over the place. It's on, 6 different platforms right now today. So it's 6 platforms that's watching this interview. So I'm going to say to the platforms that's watching this interview today that we need younger people that ain't got a gray beard, ain't got a bald head yet, that can come on this show and talk to the population of individuals that probably I got some barriers when I'm trying to reach them. I mean, I know how to talk to them. I'll say some stuff. But it's some faces out there that's way younger than me in their 20s and 30s and 40s that can come on this show and I can sit them at this table and they can look into the camera and talk. And I bet you they can grab a hold to the population that I can't. I know that.
Okay.
And so my desire is to get some younger people, different nationalities, different cultures, different populations that I can't speak their language. I need somebody that can talk Ebonics. I need somebody that can talk Spanish. I need somebody that can talk Dearborn. I mean, it's all different kinds of populations out here that we need to reach as far as the recovery global network is concerned. And so I need you. I need you. You see me, I need you. My number is going to scroll down at the end of this page. How to get in touch with me, how to give to the Recovery Life Global Network, how to contact Mr. Kenyatta, how to do, I mean, all of that's going to scroll down at the end of this interview. But I need you. I need you. There's a population of people that I'll never be able to talk to. I know that part. So I'm developing, designing, foundationing, but I need you to come and sit here with me and Kenyatta.
Absolutely.
So that you can reach people that we will never reach. We would never just reach them. So if you out there and you listening and you got a passion that you want to help us prevent, prevention is better than treatment.
Absolutely.
If I could prevent you from getting cancer, that's better than treating cancer. If I could prevent you from getting high blood pressure, that's better than treating high blood pressure. If I can prevent you from getting diabetes and arthritis and all these other stuff that happen to a human, if I could prevent you from getting it, that's better than treating it. So I tell people, watch that salt intake right now.
Okay.
I mean, they teenagers.
Absolutely.
Well, Grandpa, what salt got to do with it?
Yeah.
I love it. I love a half a bottle of salt on my French fries. But they don't know that genetically they have been predisposed to high blood pressure because of the generational levels. And if they could stop the salt intake now, it's a possibility that they could turn that wheel that everybody on my generational tree don't have to leave here the same way. You hear what I'm saying? So that's prevention.
And I agree with you. What we doing here in our community, and I'm talking about our global community, it's all hands on deck. Everybody.
Okay.
The young, the old, the middle aged, it takes a village. All of us got to put our hands in, and especially wrapping our hands around our young people. You know, everybody who got the heart to do this kind of work, we need you.
Hallelujah.
But what Reverend was specifically talking about, we need some of you younger people also to reach out to your peers. Because your peers can relate to you more so that they can relate to me and Reverend Washington. Not that they don't understand us, but to have somebody your age saying, hey man, you don't really need to be smoking that. Come on with us. Let's go play some basketball.
Okay.
Or you don't need that, you know, so we need all hands on deck. Everybody.
Amen. Yes,
the whole village need to be involved in making our community. Now, you mentioned something, and I be trying to let people know about predisposition as far as substance abuse addiction. You know, I be telling young people and older people and all of them, if for a lot of this disease of addiction is genetic. You know, I've been working in this field for 41 years. I seen the grandfather come into the programs. I see the father come into the program. And now I'm seeing the grandkids coming. I mean, I had been around long enough to see 3 generations of one family.
Wow.
Especially from the neighborhood we know. I know some neighborhoods. I know some people. There's some families that the whole family was wiped out of whole drug. It was 12 of them. It was 12 of them. All the brothers and the sisters died. Since I've been in the program for 41 years, all 12 of them died from drug addiction or alcoholism. It's genetic. Some people, and in this field we call it developmental. Sometimes it could be your community. If you live in certain neighborhoods and you see your cousin, your friends, your neighbors, and all, then they smoking and they getting high. then subliminally, what is that telling our young people?
That's
Hey,
okay.
if I'm walking to high school every day and I got to walk down Linwood or Dexter, and every day I'm seeing people on the corner, they waiting for the liquor store to open. I see women walking the streets. Subliminally, what's the message going out to them? That this is how my culture is. And that's why you're seeing so many people getting caught up in there. Us that works in the prevention community gonna have to give them another dynamic to say, no, it don't have to be this way. You know, we don't have to be that way. That's all we see. That's all that's going on. When I leave out the house, hey, I have kids coming. I work in a high school. The kids be coming to school smelling like weed. I be saying, you been smoking weed? No, Mr. Kenyatta, I ain't been smoking weed. My mom and my daddy was smoking weed.
So they cooked it. It was environmental.
So I call the kids' parents up and say, look, your kids, I'm sending them home because I can't have them in the school because he smell like marijuana. They be saying, what's the big deal about that? That's what the parents be.
Everybody, I got my card.
Yeah, I mean, so we got all hands on deck.
Amen.
All hands on deck, brother.
Yeah,
and that's the way we do.
We need the church community.
Yes, sir.
We need the mosque community.
Yes, sir.
Need the educational community.
Yes, sir.
We need the social community. We need the representatives community of the state and the city, the local government community. We need the state. We need all hands on. We need all hands on deck. We need it all. And I was, I've been a hairstylist for 42 years.
We need a hairstyle.
I'm putting my hair hat on. Okay. But you know what I learned by me being in recovery and in substance abuse? I learned even the hair had a problem. When I was trying to relax the hair wouldn't relax. Why? Because the hair was under the influence. Whatever you eat come out of your hair.
Absolutely.
So when I put the chemicals on the hair wouldn't respond like I wanted to respond. I had to detox the hair before I could get the hair to relax.
Okay.
But that was science.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to pick that up and to do that stuff. Now, the feds, if they want to know what you've been eating, if they could find a string of your hair anywhere, if they could find a string of your hair, they can tell you what you drank, what you ate, what you been, where you put. So hair is all over the place. They use hair to try to find forensics. Hair will cause forensics to take place, and they can understand who you, what you, and all of that kind of stuff. We do urine tests, and we do, and the medical facility do blood tests. But when you get on the higher levels, they taking hair. Because hair can tell me that you had a drink last month on the 3rd. And didn't have none this month. So it's a lot of technology that's out here that we can utilize to develop a system and a program to kind of help us. And most people think because I don't look like you and your addiction that I ain't really addicted. You know what I'm saying? I don't look like you. But addiction is so many layers and levels and things of it. And I tell you, if you keep on doing it, the body don't know if you copped on Bewick and Mac or if you got it out of Rite Aids.
Yeah.
Once the substance is in the body, it all responds the same. So the body don't care where you got it from. And that's why education, inspiration, prevention, and all this information is so needed, man. We got a lot to do, man. We got a lot to do, man. I got to come back.
All hands on deck, brother.
I got to come back, man. I got to come back because you said a lot about the community and you said a lot about recovery, addiction, prevention, and all of those layers. And you've been around, you said over 40-something years in this environment, helping, preventing, recovering, treatment, and all of those modalities and levels of care that you can provide for a participant. That's a lot, man. So I really appreciate you coming on the show and this company that allow us to be here to just talk about recovery, man. It's not being talked about.
Yes, sir.
They say, shh. We talk about that. Don't talk shh. We talk about all that. But I'm here to try by the grace of God to break the stigma. And I talk about tough subjects. Tough subjects. Is it any closing remarks that you would want to say to the globe right now that you can leave with us until we get back?
Once again, I want to thank Reverend Jesse Washington for giving myself and my agency, Spectrum Child and Family Services, an opportunity to come out and talk about prevention, treatment, and recovery. As stated during this interview, that all hands are on deck. We need everybody, the young, the old, the black, the white, Hispanic, everybody. We're in a crisis situation right now where substance abuse is destroying not just our community but America. People are dying coming off this COVID. That devastated the community. Now it's time for all people of all faith to come back and let's start working with organizations like Reverend Washington's, who's really trying to make a difference. So if you see a number down there that you can call in, please call in and support this brother. He's out here and he's working. I've been knowing this man for years. He's working around the clock to make a difference in our community, and he shouldn't have to do it by himself. So support this great organization, this man, and let's all get together. Hopefully we can see you. I can see you myself sometime soon. Thanks a lot.
And I'd like to say to the community, Dr. Martin Luther King was one of my mentors. I named my son after him. And I like to just and I usually don't put my hat on inside of a building. I was taught to be more conscious of that. Okay. But because of the day, and because of the movement, and because they marching downtown, and so many towns,
yes, sir,
they unveiling a statue of Martin Luther King in downtown Detroit as we speak.
As we speak.
As we speak. Then I just want to put on one of the doctor's hats and say in silence that we thank you, Dr. Martin Luther King.
For all the work he done.
For all the work that you've done. And we're going to take it to the next level.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to get some of our younger people
yes, sir,
to take it to the next level and transition the torch to them when we start moving to the side. So I'd like to say thank you for another segment of Recovery Live Global. I'm in the house with Kenyatta, and I thank you for Spectrum Human Services,
yes,
and I really thank Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network for allowing this kind of stuff to be possible.
Absolutely.
And so until we meet back again, I say we love you, and they say don't pick up the first one, and more will be revealed.
No, beautiful.
Amen.
Amen.